When Hitler became dictator of Germany, he applied the principle he wrote in his book, Mein Kampf. A stronger race will drive out the weak races, for the vital urge crushes the weak to make room for the strong. How did Hitler manage to take power and become the supreme leader of Germany, the Führer? To tell this story, the best footage of the rise of Adolf Hitler has been painstakingly transformed using digital techniques into color. To ask the question, how was the Hitler phenomenon possible? Nuremberg, 1929. This Nazi Party rally was the real beginning of what German playwright Bertolt Brecht called the resistible rise of Adolf Hitler. The devastating economic crisis originating with the Wall Street crash in the United States caused havoc throughout the world, particularly in Germany. One after another, factories closed their doors, and the number of unemployed reached the astounding figure of 6 million. Out of despair, many Germans turned to the Nazis or to the communists, who also had their paramilitary troops, complete with uniforms. Communists and Nazis clashed violently in all the elections that followed. Hitler provoked disorder, while at the same time claiming to be the only man capable of stopping it. This tactic proved effective. Hitler rallied the small business owners and homeowners to his cause by denouncing the threat of the Red Plague, the egalitarian Marxists, who also struck fear into the hearts of the peasantry. The result? 100 elected Nazis entered the Reichstag, the German parliament. Hitler was now the leader of the country's second political party, after the Social Democrats. Yet the upper classes, who despised Hitler, weren't particularly worried. They carried on living a lifestyle isolated from the mass of the German people. They saw no reason why things should change. And in the meantime, Hitler's rise continued. In just a year, he came to dominate the extreme right in Germany. Veterans associations, such as the Steel Helmets, with 500,000 members, agreed to obey his orders. Behind his domineering posturing, Hitler hid a terrible secret. He had just emerged from a scandal which might have finished him. Rumors of a personal drama were circulating in the press. He had developed a passion for his own niece, Geli Raubal, aged 23. He loved her irrationally, possessively. And she had just committed suicide. She had been living with him in his Munich apartment. She confided to a friend, "My uncle is a monster. No one can imagine what he demands of me." She apparently wanted to leave him, but now she was dead. A press campaign was launched against Hitler, accusing him of sexual perversion and even of having Gailey murdered. Extremely depressed, Hitler threatened to kill himself as well. His worried entourage decided to act. His photographer, Heinrich Hoffmann, introduced him to one of his secretaries. She resembled Gailey. Her name was Eva Braun. She was 19 and already quite worldly. She seemed to fit the bill. She was captivated by the popularity of the Nazi party leader. Hitler would make her his new shadow mistress. He declared himself a bachelor married to Germany to gain the sympathy of female voters. German women already had the right to vote. Eva Braun was above all a sports enthusiast. She dreamt of becoming an actress and of starring in Tarzan movies in Hollywood. With her behind him, Hitler recovered his combativeness as a politician, at a time when the end of the mandate of Germany's President Hindenburg was drawing near. Hitler was among the candidates to succeed him in 1932. Barely 10 years after his attempted putsch and imprisonment, Hitler was on the verge of becoming president of Germany. Germans were subjected to an intensive poster campaign. Nazi propaganda chief Joseph Goebbels said, "Let us be grandiose." He devised an ultra-modern election campaign using aeroplanes, a European first. The largest commercial plane of the time was provided by the director of Lufthansa Airlines, who wasn't adverse to this free advertising opportunity. Hitler, wearing a leather helmet, embarked on a tour of 100 German towns to gauge his popularity. Goebbels invented the slogan, "The Führer above Germany." He forged the myth of Hitler as the supreme savior during these aerial hustings, carefully filmed and then screened all over the country. But Goebbels could not relax yet. The campaign cost a fortune, and the industrial barons were still wary of Hitler's violent methods. The Nazis had to charge everyone who came to listen to Hitler the equivalent of a £1 entry fee. This didn't discourage people. On the contrary. One witness described his reaction. "I suddenly felt Hitler's eyes on me, and it affected me for the rest of my life." A week before the presidential elections, Hitler brought together 100,000 Berliners sick of the traditional parties, who appeared incapable of solving the crisis. 20-year-old Jutta Rüdiger was in the crowd. She wrote, "I can't explain the state that unemployment plunged us into. We really thought that Hitler alone could get us out of that misery."
Von den Zehntausenden, die Jahr für Jahr den Gashahn aufdrehen, nicht weil es ihnen zu gut geht.
To the amazement of many, Hitler became a serious candidate for the presidency. The press had a field day. On the right, Hitler was seen as the modern political hero. On the left, the insults were more personal. Hitler was described as a pansy, a half-mad cheater, a vain charlatan, a fake tough guy with an oversized riding crop. The outgoing president, Marshal Hindenburg, although a reactionary monarchist, was supported by the left. On the 10th of April 1932, the verdict was announced. Hitler had been defeated. 13 million Germans had voted for him, a third of the electorate. Support for him was enormous, but not enough.